Bossman show here with Coach Bruce Pearl of the Auburn Tigers coming to Atlanta this weekend. State Farm Arena playing the Memphis Tigers, the Battle of Chuck Galena. I say the Chuck Galena Bowl. Coach, what's up, man?
Yeah, man, good to see you, man. Hey, I tell you what, I haven't heard the name Chuck Galena in a long time. Just for the viewers and listeners, Chuck was our SID for a long, long time at Auburn. In fact, he's got the reputation for being one of the losingest SIDs in the history of college basketball during his time here at Auburn.
Hey, it changed when you got there, Coach. When you got there, it changed. It got better.
Yeah, I got rid of him, and the whole program turned around. No, Chuck's one of the all-time best in our game. So, man, it's great. It's great to hear that name again.
Coach, let me go back to Nashville, man. Last year, man, it was my birthday, March 11th, man. Everything kind of got shut down. So, getting ready to play up there, man, in Nashville, as you always do. How was it to tell your team, man, that it's over to go home and your seniors? And I know that was a gut punch for your team and your staff, man.
I will never, ever forget where I was. You know, it's like one of those things like, you know, where were you when Kennedy was shot? You weren't even born yet. Y'all were too young. I'm talking to a kid here. I'm an old man. We were on the bus, and we were heading from having just left the arena to go to Vanderbilt and get another practice in. And you could tell, even before the announcement, something was wrong. Something was going on in our country. We didn't know a lot about the virus, but it was just starting to blow up. And we were wondering, man, should we be playing basketball right now when we don't know what we're dealing with? So there was tremendous uncertainty. And then, of course, when we got the word, all within the same day, that not only are we going to play the SEC tournament, but the NCAA tournament's canceled. And I've got 5 seniors and Isaac Coro and a team that's 25-6 and playing really, really well. And, you know, had been in the Final Four the year before. And, man, I mean, it was just devastating. Tears, anger, it was rough. But at the same time, God is in our locker room, and he was on that bus, and we were not going to whine and cry about not playing a basketball game when we knew the world was at that time going through something that could be far more deadly and dangerous than a basketball contest.
Most definitely, Coach. You know I was up there. It was sick to me. I was in the Army. You could tell how everybody was just depressed and down. And I went and got my credentials. Guy in town from Atlanta to come cover you guys. I do every year around my birthday. Spend up there in Nashville covering this tournament. And I'm like, man, this sucks for all those seniors, all those people I see every year, man. I can't hang out with you guys. And it's like, man, it's over. That's not like that.
I know. I hate it for last year's high school seniors and last year's college seniors. I don't know, and of course the elderly, because they've been hunkered down for, 8 months or so. But you talk about a high school senior that doesn't get to go to prom or doesn't get to graduate, and then you'll go to college. It's all different. There's no social interaction. There's no classes. Everything's on Zoom. Well, you talk about those college seniors, the job market is completely different when they get out in June. For our seniors, the draft isn't until November rather than, in May or June. I mean, you talk about their world being, there is no European basketball. The G League right now is going to be half the teams are going to buy in, the other half aren't. Those populations of our 17 and 18-year-olds and our 22 and 23-year-olds, those guys were really terribly impacted by it. So, you know what? We're praying for normal. We're praying for the virus to get under control. We got these vaccines, and I'm just glad that these kids right now are still able to play and practice and live out their dream as we're going and growing, and for us here at Auburn as a really young team trying to become a competitive team.
Coach, how excited is it for you, though, having all those young men on your roster, 2 from right here at McGeechan here, Powder Springs, Georgia. We don't talk about them as well. How is it fun for you as a coach having these young teams to build these young men up, teach them the Auburn way, coach them up like you always do, get your NBA player 2 out of that bunch as well in a few years?
Well, Atlanta's been very, very good to us, and,
Yes.
and I think, the 2 cities at Auburn that Birmingham is number one. Atlanta's number two when it comes to the population of our student body. That's the second most students in the country come from Atlanta. And
Mm-hmm.
so Auburn enjoys a great reputation, and we've got great alums, and it's close. I mean, we're an hour and a half from downtown, and there's no
Yes.
traffic on 85. Unlike all that traffic in the ATL. And we've had success there. Guys like Chumo Kiki, coming out of Westlake as the top 50 high school player. In 2 years, he grows 16, and he's gonna be in the city on Friday night playing against the Hawks, right?
Yeah.
So that's exciting. And then Isaac Okoro from McEachern. He's got his name and his jersey hung in the rafters, and he's the number 5 player taken in the draft. And to get our first McDonald's All-American and our first 5-star, from McEachern High School, Sharif Cooper, who obviously saw the success of a guy like Jared Harper from Pebblebrook, who's now with the New York Knicks, right? Or a smaller guard in Bryce Brown, who is the most dynamic scorer in the SEC. All of our Atlanta kids saw all those Atlanta kids come here, win, get better, graduate. Man, it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
And Coach, the pipeline that you have in Atlanta, all the great coaches, AU programs, talk about how the coaching here is so advanced and getting guys prepared to come play for a Bruce Pearl and play in your system and defend like crazy, score the ball where you want to score it, and get them to be great young men and great ballers at the same time, Coach.
You're really right about the coaching in Atlanta. You're spot on. Both the high school coaching, the AAU coaching, and as many individual development guys. I mean, there's so many great gyms and individual development guys that work with pros, work with college kids, work with high school kids. It reminds me of when I was at Southern Indiana in Evansville, Indiana. The high school basketball in Indiana and Kentucky was really good. North Carolina right there, high IQ. It's very true of the kids coming out of the ATL.
Most definitely, Coach. And I feel like, man, like I said, it's kind of like your home game. It's like in your backyard. Auburn in Atlanta, Birmingham, man, you're in a perfect position to get guys from both places, hit 20, 85. You got players, man, because that bubble you have around Auburn, it's great to find them down in the roughs, and those 5-star guys going to ball for you, man.
I think the kids need to see, whether it be recruits or, how we develop the program. It's all about your culture. It's all about your work ethic. It's all about Auburn family. It's about not having too many. It's about, in the sense that a lot of times you have 13 guys on scholarship. They are all promised the ball, and they get there, and it's like, what? That's not what we try to recruit them honestly and not over-promise, but over-deliver. I play 9 or 10 guys on a regular basis. So our locker room is healthier because, look, I'm not playing anybody 30, 35 minutes. I'm not. And we're sharing the ball. We're sharing it. And if you want to come in and go, you could come in here and be in a one and done. But I think Carl came in, was a one and done because his team won. And he played defense, and he impacted the game in both ways. That's what I think is attractive to a lot of these kids. They know they're going to get coached. They know they're going to compete for championship. And they know they're going to do it in a really safe, wholesome environment. This small college, prettiest village on the plains, Auburn, Alabama.
Most definitely. And Coach, let me ask you this, man. How's your energy level, man? You're always an energetic guy, man. How's it been keeping your guys pumped up and with all this tough time we had this year, Coach? But your energy is so infectious, man. So how have you used that energy that you have to keep your guys going and not let them get down, man?
Hey, listen. Hey, man, you like me, and you're more talented than I am, but I always say I make up for what I lack in talent, in effort and energy and passion, and just try to go to work every day and ask what would God have me do? What would he have me do as it relates to how I treat my coaches or how I treat my staff or how I treat my student athletes? Now, I have a high expectation. I set the bar really high. And if they want to be good, they need to go someplace else. Because I'm interested in great. For us this year, we got to grow. This is the youngest team I've ever had. It reminds me of my team 4 years ago when I had, a freshman in Jared Harper and Mustafa Heron and Isaac and Austin Wiley. Man, that team struggled in the SEC. But that team came back the following year and won a regular season championship. It came back the following year and got to the Final Four. So we're trying to build it back. We're trying to, we're in that rebuild. And I love my locker room. My kids are working hard. We're not very well coached yet. And the reason why we're not very well coached yet is we've just not experienced things together.
Most definitely.
And so we just got to go through that process. We play in Memphis on Saturday, and you talk about getting punched in the nose. I mean, we're going to get hit in the mouth. Penny's going to have those boys playing hard, and it's going to be really difficult for us to run our offense. And they've got some dudes. We got dudes too. Ours just a little younger.
Now, Coach, might have the line down for the NBA line for you. Tell your guys, shoot from your line. I think not the Hawks line. Shoot from your line. Don't try to shoot the NBA three, man. You know, they go to Madison Square Garden shooting them NBA threes, man, out of the offense. You know you don't want that, Coach.
We like to spread it. We like to shoot it. We are looking for a little bit more inside offense. I know if I had you out there, I could post your big ass up, and we get some inside touches.
We would, Coach. Try a double team, kick it out to the 4-3, baby.
Yeah, or what I would do is I get the ball to you in the perimeter and let you dribble a hand off somebody and set that Death Star of a screen. Shoot right behind you, man. Right behind you.
I might use that left leg, get a little bit that screen, get a little move on it too, Coach. Get a little move on it.
They'll let you move on that screen a little bit. You don't kill nobody.
Yes, indeed. Now, Coach, let me ask you this, man. How was this offseason for your players, man? Keeping them via Zoom, keeping them going, knowing they was at home for a while, the racial unrest. How did you have time to make sure your young men's minds were sharp and not getting down what was going on around them, negativity that you saw on TV and around them, Coach?
You talk about the players interacting with me?
Yeah. How'd you keep them motivated throughout the offseason when the pandemic, the racial unrest, and the things going on in the country? How'd you keep those guys upbeat, man?
I'm just honest with them. Mm-hmm. In the sense that I'm old school. And there are some things that you don't want to be called. You don't want to be called soft. You know what? But them NBA scouts, they look at and seeing what's your effort energy like. What is it?
Yes.
So my job is to try to get them to get their motor run, play hard and play unselfish. It's hard to be physical when you are a little younger and you are a little lighter. But look, it's a man's game.
Yes,
and so we and also playing a style of play that's going to allow for some freedom in the sense that I don't want my guys looking over at the bench going, is that a good shot or is that a bad shot? Hey man, if you're open and you don't shoot it, you're coming out. So that you should have taken that shot. What I'll do is I'll yell at the guys off the ball. Why didn't you go rebound the offensive glass? You knew he was going to shoot it. So as long as my guys will play with effort and energy and play hard and not soft, I'll get the trade-off is we'll play fast, we'll play with offensive freedom, we'll create possessions, and that's how we're going to roll.
Most definitely, Coach. And also, last one I got for you, Coach, this, man. What was your quarantine hobby? Mine's playing the guitar, man. What's been your hobby this quarantine?
Man, I guess my quarantine highlight has been that I got my first grandchild, and she lives like 5 minutes away from McEachern High School with my daughter and my son-in-law. And you want to talk about my life being better? She is my joy. I wish I had my Christmas card with me, and I could show you a picture of her. She is just spectacular. I've been over to see her a few times, probably way more than Granddaddy would have been able to see her if it wasn't for quarantine. So that's been very special.
Coach, I mean, maybe you have a young baller already coming up, Coach. You teach her how to play that. You give her a little fish fry hoop. Get you that little hoop, Coach. Coach her up, man. Get into the WNBA.
Her mama was a dancer. Her daddy was a football player. I think she's gonna be a dancer. She's a beautiful girl.
Coach, hey, that's wonderful, man. Coach, best of luck to you Saturday against Penny, man. Stay from Arena, man. I'll be cheering for you guys, man. It's good to see you and talk to you, Coach Pearl. I love you, man. You're great, man.
I appreciate that. I want to give a quick shout out to Chris Williams and the people that are organizing this event. College basketball is back in Atlanta. Georgia Tech, Coach Pastor's got that team playing better, so they're more competitive right now. And the idea was to bring in all these great teams into the city of Atlanta. I think this is going to be an annual event. College basketball in Atlanta, it should be a hotbed, and I appreciate, Jerry, you promoting it.
Anytime, Coach. You guys be good, man. And win the Chuck Glenn Bowl, Coach. Beat Chuck on Saturday, Coach. Beat him.
War Eagle, my brother.
Yes, indeed. War Eagle, Coach. Be good, brother.